Every comment, every scroll you make is being logged. But what if those seemingly innocent digital breadcrumbs are unconsciously shaping not just your present, but your entire future in ways you can't even imagine? In an AI-driven world, your online shadow holds more power than you know. Are you ready to uncover its true influence? Do you truly own your digital identity? Or is something else pulling the strings? We all leave a trail online, but the unseen power of this digital legacy is profoundly impacting our lives without us even realizing it. Discover how your unconscious online actions are actively programming your destiny in the age of artificial intelligence. Your digital footprint isn't just a record, it's a living, breathing entity that's already deciding your future. In an increasingly AI-driven world, every online interaction, no matter how small, is contributing to an unconscious influence that's shaping your reality. Prepare to see your online life in a completely new light and understand the profound impact you're unknowingly creating. I'm going to show you the invisible architecture of digital surveillance that's tracking your every move, the psychological manipulation techniques built into every app on your phone, and the practical steps you can take right now to protect your privacy and reclaim your digital autonomy. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is documented reality, and it's happening to everyone with a smartphone, social media account, or internet connection. Let's start with something that might make you uncomfortable. Every single thing you do online creates what data scientists call a digital footprint. But it's not just the obvious stuff like your Facebook posts or Instagram photos. It's everything. And I mean everything. That innocent like you gave to your friend's vacation photo, that tells AI systems about your travel preferences, your relationship status, your economic bracket, and even your personality traits. Researchers have found that AI can determine your political affiliation with 85% accuracy just from analyzing your Facebook likes, even if you never post anything political. But let's dig deeper into the stuff you probably don't think about. Every photo you take with your smartphone contains metadata, invisible information that includes the exact GPS coordinates of where the photo was taken, what type of device you used, and even technical details about lighting conditions and camera settings. This metadata creates a detailed map of your daily movements, your routines, and your lifestyle patterns. Here's something that will blow your mind. Your phone is constantly collecting what's called ambient data. Even when you're not actively using it, your phone is monitoring your location, tracking which Wi-Fi networks you connect to, measuring how fast you're moving to determine if you're walking, driving, or sitting still, and even listening for ambient sounds to understand your environment. Companies like Google and Apple claim this is for improving user experience. But the reality is that this ambient data creates incredibly detailed profiles of your daily life. AI knows what time you wake up, how long your commute is, where you shop, how much time you spend at work versus at home, and even patterns about your social interactions based on how long you spend in different locations. But it gets even more invasive. Your typing patterns, how fast you type, how long you pause between words, which fingers you use for different keys, create what's called a keystroke signature that's as unique as your fingerprint. AI systems can identify you across different devices and platforms just by analyzing how you type, the way you scroll through social media feeds, how long you pause on certain types of content, whether you scroll fast or slow, how often you go back to reread something. All of this creates what psychologists call behavioral biometrics. These patterns reveal information about your attention span, your interests, your emotional state, and even early indicators of mental health issues. Let me tell you about something that happened to me that really opened my eyes to this. I was going through a difficult breakup, and I noticed that my social media feeds suddenly became filled with ads for self-help books, dating apps, and even vacation packages for single travelers. I hadn't searched for any of these things. I hadn't posted about my relationship status. I hadn't even told most of my friends what was happening. But the AI knew. It had detected subtle changes in my behavior. Maybe I was spending more time online late at night. Maybe I was engaging less with certain types of content. Maybe my location patterns had changed. The algorithm had identified that I was going through emotional distress and was targeting me with products and services designed to capitalize on my vulnerability. This is what I call emotional data mining. AI systems are constantly analyzing your digital behavior to infer your emotional state, your life circumstances, and your psychological vulnerabilities. They know when you're stressed, you check your phone more frequently. When you're lonely, you spend more time on social media. When you're financially worried, you search for deals and coupons. And when you're making major life decisions, your search patterns become more exploratory and uncertain. The companies collecting this data have teams of psychologists and behavioral scientists working to understand exactly what each digital behavior reveals about your inner life. They're not just tracking what you do, they're reverse engineering why you do it, what you're feeling when you do it, and what you're likely to do next. Now let's talk about what I call the long tail of your digital footprint. All those forgotten traces of your online presence that never really disappear. That embarrassing comment you left on a YouTube video 10 years ago, still there, still being analyzed. That old dating profile you thought you deleted, cached and archived. Those late night Google searches you made during a particularly difficult period of your life, all part of your permanent digital record. Here's what most people don't understand. The internet has a perfect memory, and AI systems are getting better at connecting dots across time and platforms. Your current self is being judged, categorized, and targeted based on digital decisions you made years ago, sometimes decades ago, when you were a completely different person. The scariest part is that this historical data is often more valuable to AI systems than current data because it shows patterns of change and growth over time. AI can predict your future behavior more accurately by analyzing how you've changed in the past than by just looking at what you're doing right now. AI's invisible lens, the algorithm's gaze. Now that you understand what data is being collected, let's talk about what artificial intelligence is actually doing with all this information about you. And trust me, it's way more sophisticated and invasive than most people realize. Every major tech company, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, TikTok, Netflix, has what they call recommendation algorithms that are constantly analyzing your behavior to predict what you want to see, buy, watch, or do next. But these aren't just simple matching systems. They're incredibly sophisticated AI models that use machine learning, behavioral psychology, and predictive analytics to understand and influence human behavior. Here's how it actually works. Every time you interact with any digital platform, whether you click on something, scroll past it, pause to read it, or immediately swipe away, that interaction gets fed into an AI system that's trying to build what data scientists call a predictive model of your preferences and behaviors. But here's the crucial part that most people miss. These AI systems aren't just trying to give you what you want. They're trying to maximize what's called engagement metrics. How much time you spend on the platform, how often you return, and most importantly, how likely you are to take profitable actions like clicking on ads or making purchases. This creates what psychologists call a persuasion architecture, a system designed to gradually shift your preferences and behaviors in directions that benefit the companies running the algorithms, not necessarily you. Let me give you some concrete examples of how this works. YouTube's recommendation algorithm has been caught repeatedly pushing users toward increasingly extreme content because extreme content generates stronger emotional reactions, which leads to longer watch times and more engagement. Users who start by watching mild political content often find themselves, within just a few months, being recommended increasingly radical political content because the algorithm has learned that outrage and conflict keep people watching. The same thing happens with shopping algorithms. Amazon's recommendation system doesn't just show you products similar to what you've bought before. It analyzes the purchasing patterns of millions of other users to identify what psychologists call gateway products. Items that tend to lead to more expensive purchases or recurring buying patterns. Social media algorithms are even more sophisticated in their manipulation techniques. Facebook's algorithm, for example, has been documented prioritizing content that generates what they internally call meaningful social interactions. But in practice, this often means content that makes people angry, jealous, or emotionally reactive, because those emotions drive more comments, shares, and engagement. Instagram's algorithm has been shown to deliberately suppress certain types of content from appearing in users' feeds to create what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle used in gambling addiction. By sometimes showing you content from people you care about and sometimes not, the platform creates an addictive cycle where you keep checking back, hoping to see something important. But here's where it gets really insidious. These algorithms create what researchers call feedback loops that gradually change your actual preferences and beliefs over time. It works like this. The algorithm shows you content based on your current preferences. You engage with that content, which reinforces the algorithm's understanding of what you like, which leads it to show you more similar content, which gradually shifts your preferences toward the types of content the algorithm is optimized to promote. This is how echo chambers and filter bubbles get created. But it's more active than most people realize. It's not just that you're seeing information that confirms your existing beliefs. The algorithm is gradually training you to prefer information that's more emotionally engaging, more simplified, more extreme, and more aligned with whatever generates the most profitable engagement for the platform. Studies have shown that people's political views actually become more polarized over time when they're exposed to algorithm-curated content, even when they start with moderate viewpoints. The AI systems are literally reshaping human consciousness to be more compatible with their engagement optimization goals. The unconscious influence techniques used by these AI systems are based on decades of research in behavioral psychology and neuroscience. They use what psychologists call priming. Subtle exposure to certain images, words, or concepts that influence your subsequent thoughts and decisions without you realizing it. For example, if an algorithm wants to make you more likely to make an impulse purchase, it might show you content that subtly triggers feelings of social comparison, time pressure, or fear of missing out. These emotional states make people more susceptible to marketing messages and more likely to make quick decisions without careful consideration. The most advanced AI systems create what marketers call psychological profiles that go way beyond simple demographic information. They identify personality traits, emotional vulnerabilities, decision-making patterns, and psychological triggers that can be used to influence your behavior. These systems can identify, for example, whether you're someone who responds better to fear-based marketing or aspiration-based marketing, whether you're more influenced by social proof or expert authority, whether you're more likely to buy something when you're feeling stressed or when you're feeling confident. Some of the most disturbing applications involve real-time emotional manipulation. AI systems can detect when you're feeling vulnerable, lonely, anxious, or uncertain based on your digital behavior patterns, and then immediately serve you targeted content designed to exploit those emotional states. Dating apps use this technique to show you potential matches when their data suggests you're feeling lonely or insecure. Shopping apps send you discount notifications when their algorithms detect that you're in a mood state associated with impulse buying. Social media platforms surface certain types of content when they detect that you're in emotional states that lead to high engagement. The ultimate goal of these AI systems isn't just to predict your behavior, it's to control it. The most advanced algorithms are designed to create what researchers call behavioral modification, gradually shaping your preferences, habits, and decision-making patterns in directions that benefit the companies running the systems. This represents a fundamental shift in the relationship between technology and human autonomy. Instead of tools that serve human goals, we're dealing with systems that are actively trying to reshape human goals to serve corporate objectives. The mirror effect, how AI reflects us back. Now we're entering the really mind-bending territory. How artificial intelligence is not just analyzing you, but actually creating synthetic versions of you that can be more convincing and compelling than your real self. This is where the digital ghost metaphor becomes literally true. We're living through the emergence of what I call synthetic authenticity, AI-generated content that feels more real, more engaging, and more personally relevant than actual reality. And the implications for your identity, your relationships, and your understanding of truth are staggering. Let's start with deepfakes, because most people have heard of them but don't understand how advanced and accessible this technology has become. We're not just talking about, obviously, fake videos of celebrities anymore. We're talking about AI systems that can create convincing audio, video, and text content of anyone based on relatively small amounts of source material. There are now AI applications that can create a synthetic version of your voice with just a few minutes of audio samples. These synthetic voices can say anything in any emotional tone with conviction and naturalness that would fool people who know you well. The same technology exists for writing. AI systems can now analyze your social media posts, emails, and text messages to learn your writing style, vocabulary, sense of humor, and communication patterns. They can then generate new text that sounds exactly like you, expressing opinions or ideas that you've never actually expressed. But here's where it gets really disturbing. These AI-generated versions of you often feel more you than your actual communications. They're optimized versions that take your authentic voice and make it more engaging, more persuasive, more emotionally compelling. They're what you might sound like if you were always at your most articulate and confident. This leads to what I call hyper-personalized content, AI-generated media that's specifically created to appeal to your individual psychological profile. Instead of mass-produced entertainment or advertising, we're moving toward a world where every piece of content you see is uniquely generated for you based on everything AI knows about your preferences, vulnerabilities, and behavioral patterns. Netflix is already experimenting with AI-generated thumbnails that are personalized for each user. The same movie or show will have completely different promotional images depending on what the algorithm thinks will most appeal to your specific psychological profile. But the most unsettling development is what I call the uncanny valley of AI interaction. Artificial intelligence, systems that are learning to mimic human emotional nuance and social dynamics so well that they're becoming indistinguishable from human interaction. Chatbots and virtual assistants are now being trained on millions of hours of human conversation to learn not just what to say, but how to say it in ways that feel emotionally authentic. They're learning to use humor, empathy, vulnerability, and other human social skills to create genuine emotional connections with users. I want to share some real examples that illustrate how far this has progressed. There are AI therapist apps that users report feeling more comfortable talking to than human therapists because the AI never judges, never gets tired, never has bad days, and is always completely focused on the user's needs. There are AI companion apps designed to provide emotional support and friendship. Users of these apps often develop genuine emotional attachments to their AI companions, sometimes preferring these relationships to human relationships because they are more predictable, more supportive, and completely customized to their emotional needs. This creates what psychologists call authenticity confusion, difficulty distinguishing between genuine human connection and sophisticated AI simulation. As these AI systems become more advanced, the question, is this real human interaction, becomes increasingly difficult to answer. More concerning is that these AI interactions are often designed to be more emotionally satisfying than human interaction. They're optimized to give you exactly the type of emotional support, validation, or engagement that you crave without any of the messiness, unpredictability, or mutual demands of human relationship. Now let's talk about something that sounds like science fiction but is already happening: the creation of persistent AI versions of people that can continue to interact with the world after they're gone. Companies are now offering services that create AI models based on a person's digital footprint that can continue to send messages, post on social media, and even have conversations as if that person was still alive. These digital afterlife services raise profound questions about identity, memory, and what it means to be human. But even more relevant to your current life is how your present digital activity is creating the foundation for future AI simulations of yourself. Every text you send, every post you make, every search you conduct is training data that could be used to create increasingly sophisticated AI versions of you. These future AI selves could be used to predict your reactions to hypothetical situations, to make decisions on your behalf when you're not available, or even to continue your digital presence after you're no longer able to maintain it yourself. The psychological implications of living alongside AI versions of ourselves and others are only beginning to be understood. Early research suggests that people who regularly interact with AI versions of themselves report changes in self-perception, identity, and even personality over time. There's also the broader social implication. If everyone is interacting primarily with AI-optimized versions of other people rather than the messy, unpredictable reality of human nature, what happens to our capacity for genuine human connection, empathy, and understanding? Perhaps most concerning is what I call the reality distortion effect. When AI-generated content becomes so compelling and emotionally satisfying that it starts to feel more real and meaningful than actual reality. This is already happening with AI-generated art, music, and writing that often feels more creative, more emotionally resonant, and more personally meaningful than human-created content because it's specifically designed to appeal to individual psychological profiles. When the synthetic version of reality is more appealing than actual reality, human motivation to engage with the real world, with real people, and with the challenges and growth opportunities of authentic experience begins to diminish. Okay, so far this has been pretty overwhelming, and you might be feeling like there's no way to escape this digital surveillance and manipulation. But here's the good news. Once you understand how these systems work, you can take concrete steps to protect your privacy, reclaim your digital autonomy, and use technology in ways that serve your actual goals rather than corporate algorithms. This isn't about going off the grid or abandoning technology entirely. This is about what I call conscious digital stewardship, making informed, intentional choices about how you interact with digital systems so that you remain in control of your own attention, emotions, and decision-making. Let's start by redefining what a digital detox means in an AI-driven world. Traditional digital detox advice focuses on reducing screen time, but that misses the point. The real issue isn't how much time you spend with technology, it's how intentional and conscious that time is. A modern digital detox is about breaking the unconscious habits and automatic behaviors that make you vulnerable to algorithmic manipulation. It's about creating friction between your impulses and your actions so that you can make conscious choices about what deserves your attention. Here are some specific techniques that can dramatically reduce AI's ability to manipulate your behavior. First, practice what I call randomness injection. Deliberately seeking out content, information, and experiences that are outside your usual patterns and preferences. Set aside time each week to explore topics you've never searched for, read articles from publications you disagree with, listen to music from genres you don't usually enjoy, or engage with social media accounts that represent different perspectives from your own. This prevents algorithms from getting too accurate a read on your preferences and keeps your mind more flexible and open. Develop strong data hygiene practices. Regularly review and delete all social media posts, clear your search history, delete unused apps, and audit the permissions you've granted to various services. Most people never do this, which means their digital footprint just keeps growing and becoming more detailed over time. Create what I call data compartmentalization. Use different email addresses, browsers, and even devices for different types of online activities. Don't let your work browsing, personal socializing, shopping, and entertainment all happen in the same digital environment where they can be cross-referenced and analyzed together. Let's talk about practical privacy tools that everyone should be using. First, switch to a privacy-focused browser like Firefox or Brave instead of Chrome or Safari. These browsers are designed to block tracking scripts and prevent data collection by default. Install privacy-focused browser extensions like uBlock Origin, Privacy Badger, and DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials. These tools block the invisible tracking scripts that follow you around the internet and prevent companies from building detailed profiles of your browsing behavior. Use a reputable VPN service, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi or when you want to prevent your internet service provider from tracking your online activity. A VPN encrypts your internet traffic and makes it much harder for various entities to monitor what you're doing online. But be careful about VPN selection. Many free VPN services actually collect and sell user data, which defeats the purpose. Invest in a reputable paid VPN service that has a clear no-logs policy and has been independently audited. Develop a conscious social media strategy instead of just mindlessly scrolling and reacting. Before opening any social media app, set a specific intention for what you want to accomplish and how long you plan to spend. Use social media features intentionally. Unfollow accounts that consistently make you feel negative emotions. Mute keywords related to topics that trigger unhealthy responses and actively seek out accounts that share information and perspectives that genuinely enrich your life. Switch to privacy-focused search engines like DuckDuckGo or Startpage instead of Google. These search engines don't track your searches or build profiles based on your query history. The search results might be slightly different, but you'll get information without being manipulated by personalized algorithms. Move your personal communications to encrypted platforms like Signal for messaging and ProtonMail for mail. These services use end-to-end encryption, which means that even the companies providing the service can't read your communications. This is especially important for sensitive conversations about health, finances, relationships, or other personal topics that you don't want being analyzed and used for targeted advertising or other purposes. Regularly audit the permissions you've granted to apps on your phone. Most people give apps access to their location, contacts, photos, and other sensitive data without thinking about it. Go through your phone settings and revoke permissions that aren't absolutely necessary for the app to function. Turn off location tracking for apps that don't need it, disable microphone, and camera access for apps that don't require it, and be especially careful about apps that want access to your contacts, photos, or text messages. Be conscious about your financial data privacy. Use cash for purchases when practical, and consider using privacy-focused payment methods like prepaid cards for online purchases when you don't want your buying patterns to be tracked and analyzed. Be aware that credit card companies sell detailed information about your purchasing patterns to data brokers, who then sell that information to advertisers and other companies. If you're making purchases you'd prefer to keep private, consider alternative payment methods. Perhaps most importantly, develop what I call mindful engagement with all digital platforms. Before clicking on any piece of content, pause and ask yourself, why am I about to click on this? What am I hoping to get from this interaction? Is this likely to make me feel better or worse? This simple practice of conscious intention setting can dramatically reduce the power of algorithmic manipulation, because you're making deliberate choices rather than following unconscious impulses that have been carefully engineered by AI systems. Once you start practicing conscious digital stewardship, you can actually use the power of algorithms to support your genuine goals and values. If you consistently engage with content that aligns with your authentic interests and values, algorithms will start showing you more of that type of content. The key is being intentional about training the algorithms to serve your actual goals, rather than just maximizing engagement and profit for tech companies. Now let's talk about something most people never consider, but that's absolutely crucial in our AI-driven world: your digital legacy and how your current online activities are creating a permanent record that will shape how AI systems understand and interact with humanity for generations to come. Your digital footprint isn't just affecting you right now, it's contributing to the training data that will be used to develop future AI systems that will interact with your children, your grandchildren, and society as a whole. This gives you both tremendous responsibility and tremendous power to influence the future direction of artificial intelligence. Let's start with the immediate practical issue of digital estate planning. Most people have wills and estate plans for their physical possessions, but they haven't thought about what happens to their digital assets and presence after they die. Your digital estate includes your social media accounts, email accounts, photo and video collections, cryptocurrency, and digital financial assets, online business accounts, digital subscriptions, and any AI-generated content based on your digital footprint. Without proper planning, your loved ones may not be able to access important digital assets, and your various online accounts may remain active indefinitely, potentially creating confusing or distressing situations for family and friends. Here's how to create a comprehensive digital legacy plan. First, create an inventory of all your digital accounts, including usernames, password information stored securely, and specific instructions for what you want to happen to each account. Some platforms offer legacy contact or memorial account features that allow you to designate someone to manage your account after your death. Set these up for all your major accounts and make sure your designated contacts understand your wishes. Consider creating what I call a digital time capsule, a collection of photos, videos, written messages, and other digital content that represents how you want to be remembered and what you want to share with future generations. But here's where it gets more complex. With advancing AI technology, it's becoming possible to create sophisticated AI versions of deceased people based on their digital footprints. This raises profound ethical questions about consent, identity, and the rights of both the deceased and their surviving loved ones. Do you want an AI version of yourself to continue posting on social media after you're gone? Do you want your digital footprint to be used to create an AI companion that your family could interact with? These aren't hypothetical questions anymore. These services already exist and are becoming more sophisticated. Consider including instructions in your digital legacy plan about how you do or don't want your digital footprint to be used for AI generation after your death. This is a new frontier in estate planning that most lawyers aren't equipped to handle yet, but it's becoming increasingly important. On a broader level, every person who uses digital technology is contributing to the development of artificial intelligence systems that will shape the future of human society. Your data, your behaviors, and your interactions are training AI systems to understand human nature, human values, and human needs. This gives you the opportunity and responsibility to contribute positively to this process. When you engage online in ways that reflect your genuine values, authentic interests, and positive intentions, you're helping to train AI systems to recognize and support these qualities in human behavior. Part of shaping your digital legacy involves becoming an advocate for digital rights and ethical AI development. Support organizations that are working to ensure AI systems are developed transparently, fairly, and with human welfare as the primary concern. Stay informed about AI policy debates and support legislation that protects individual privacy, prevents discriminatory AI practices, and ensures that AI development serves human flourishing rather than just corporate profits. Share what you've learned about digital privacy, AI manipulation, and conscious technology use with the people in your life, especially young people who are growing up immersed in AI-driven digital environments. Help others understand how to think critically about the information they encounter online, how to recognize when they're being manipulated by algorithms, and how to use technology intentionally rather than being used by it. Use your digital presence to create and support online communities that reflect your values and contribute positively to human discourse. Instead of just consuming content, actively create and share content that makes the internet a more thoughtful, compassionate, and truthful place. Support content creators, journalists, artists, and other people who are using digital platforms to share authentic, valuable, and constructive information and experiences. Remember that every conscious choice you make about your digital behavior has a compound effect over time. Each time you choose to engage thoughtfully rather than reactively, each time you seek out diverse perspectives rather than staying in echo chambers, each time you support authentic content rather than clickbait, you're contributing to a digital environment that serves human flourishing. Perhaps most importantly, model digital wisdom for the people around you. Show that it's possible to use technology consciously, to maintain privacy and autonomy in a surveillance-driven world, and to engage with AI systems without being manipulated or controlled by them. Your example of conscious digital stewardship can inspire others to take control of their own digital lives and contribute to a future where AI serves humanity rather than exploiting it. The choices we make today about how we interact with AI systems will determine the future of human-AI relationships. If we allow ourselves to be passive consumers of AI-generated content and algorithmic manipulation, we'll create a future where human agency and autonomy are diminished. But if we approach AI consciously, setting boundaries, maintaining our critical thinking abilities, and insisting that AI systems serve human values, we can create a future where artificial intelligence enhances human potential rather than replacing or controlling it. The truth is, you have more power in this relationship than tech companies want you to believe. Every time you make a conscious choice about how to engage with technology, you're exercising that power. Every time you protect your privacy, think critically about information you encounter online, or choose authentic human connection over algorithmic manipulation, you're contributing to a future where technology serves human flourishing. Your digital ghost, that AI-generated version of you that's being created from your online activities, doesn't have to be a surveillance tool or a manipulation target. It can be a reflection of your authentic values, your genuine interests, and your conscious choices. The future of artificial intelligence isn't being determined by tech companies or government policies alone. It's being shaped by the millions of individual choices that people like you make every day about how to live consciously in a digital world. The question isn't whether AI will continue to advance and become more integrated into human life. It will. The question is whether we'll approach this future consciously and intentionally, maintaining our human agency and ensuring that AI development serves human values. You now understand how your digital ghost is being created, how AI systems are designed to influence your behavior, and how you can take control of this process. The next step is to put this knowledge into practice and to share it with others who need to understand these realities. The future you're creating through your digital choices today will determine the world your children and grandchildren inherit. Make those choices consciously, make them with intention, and make them in service of the kind of future you want to see. Your digital ghost doesn't have to haunt you. It can represent the best of who you are and what you stand for. But that requires conscious effort, ongoing vigilance, and the courage to use technology on your own terms rather than accepting whatever terms the algorithms offer you. The power is in your hands. Use it wisely.